Imagine a world long before our own, a time when the continents were not as we know them today. The air was warm, and vast forests and plains stretched across the land. In this ancient world, enormous creatures roamed, their footsteps shaking the very ground. Among these were the plant-eating giants, the sauropods, with necks that could reach the treetops. But where there are giants to be eaten, there must also be giant hunters. In the southern lands of what would become South America and Africa, two of the most magnificent predators the world has ever known held sway. They were colossal carnivores, rivals to the famed Tyrannosaurus rex, and their names echo through time: Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus. These were not just ordinary dinosaurs. They were the kings of their domains, the apex predators of the southern hemisphere during the Cretaceous period. Their fossils tell a remarkable story of life on an epic scale. When their bones were first unearthed from the sun-baked rocks, they challenged everything we thought we knew about the size limits of meat-eating dinosaurs. For a long time, T-Rex was considered the undisputed largest, but these southern giants revealed a world where multiple titanic killers could exist. This essay is a journey back in time, a safari into the lost world of these two incredible animals, exploring how they lived, hunted, and ultimately vanished from the earth, leaving behind only their gigantic bones as a testament to their reign. Our story begins with the thrill of discovery, the moment a fossil hunter brushes away the dust of millions of years to reveal something extraordinary. Finding the remains of such a creature is like uncovering a dragon's skeleton. It sparks our imagination and fills us with wonder about the planet's deep past. The tale of Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus is not just one of ancient biology, but also one of human curiosity and the relentless quest to understand the prehistoric world. We will travel to the arid landscapes where their bones were found, learning how scientists pieced together the clues to reconstruct these magnificent beasts and the world they inhabited, a world far more wondrous and wild than we could ever imagine. So, let us begin our exploration into the lives of these southern giants. We will investigate their powerful bodies, their fearsome weapons, and the clever strategies they may have used to take down prey many times their own size. We will compare them to their famous northern cousin T-Rex and see how different environments led to different kinds of predators. We will also delve into the mysteries that still surround them, the questions that paleontologists are still working to answer. Prepare to be amazed by the sheer scale and power of Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus, two of nature's most spectacular and terrifying creations. Their story is a powerful reminder of the incredible diversity of life that has existed on our planet. The names of these dinosaurs are almost as impressive as the animals themselves, and they hold important clues about their nature. Let's start with Giganotosaurus. Its name comes from three Greek words: gigas meaning giant, notos meaning south, and sauros meaning lizard. So its full name means giant southern lizard. This name is incredibly fitting, as it was discovered in Patagonia, a region in the south of Argentina. The discovery was made in 1993 by an amateur fossil hunter named Ruben Carolini. He was driving his dune buggy across the desert when he spotted a huge bone sticking out of the ground. It turned out to be the leg bone of a colossal predator, one larger than any T-Rex found at the time. The discovery of Giganotosaurus sent waves of excitement through the scientific community. Paleontologists Rodolfo Correa and Leonardo Salgado were the ones who formally studied and named the new dinosaur in 1995. They realized that Mr. Carolini had found something truly special. The skeleton was remarkably complete. About 70% of it was there, which is very rare for such a large animal. This allowed scientists to get a very clear picture of what this giant looked like. It was a monumental find that redrew the map of dinosaur evolution, proving that the southern continents had their own lineage of super predators that rivaled and perhaps even surpassed those in the north. Now, let's turn to its African cousin, Carcharodontosaurus. Its name is also a mouthful, but it tells a fascinating story. It means shark-toothed lizard, derived from Carcharodon, the genus name for the great white shark, and sauros for lizard. This name was given because its teeth were large, flat, and serrated, much like the razor-sharp teeth of a great white. They were not designed for crushing bone, but for slicing through flesh, leaving deep, bleeding wounds. The first fossils of this dinosaur, just a few teeth and bone fragments, were found in Egypt in the 1920s. A German paleontologist named Ernst Stromer was the one who first recognized their importance. Sadly, the story of Giganotosaurus has a tragic chapter. The original fossils found by Stromer were kept in a museum in Munich, Germany. During World War II, in 1944, the museum was destroyed in a bombing raid, and those precious, irreplaceable fossils were lost forever. For decades, all we had were Stromer's drawings and descriptions. It was a great loss to science. However, in the 1990s, new expeditions to North Africa unearthed more Giganotosaurus material, including a magnificent skull found in Morocco by paleontologist Paul Sereno. This new discovery allowed scientists to finally study the shark-toothed lizard in detail, confirming its status as one of Africa's top predators. Giganotosaurus and Giganotosaurus were masterpieces of predatory evolution built for a life of hunting on a grand scale. Let's look at their size first. Both were enormous, stretching up to 13 meters, or about 43 feet, long. That's longer than a double-decker bus. They stood tall on two powerful hind legs, with their heads towering high above the ground. Their weight is estimated to be around 8 tons, which is heavier than a large African elephant. Their massive size alone would have made them an intimidating sight for any other creature in their environment. They were long and relatively slender for their size, suggesting they were not slow, lumbering beasts, but active, powerful hunters. Their skulls were immense, measuring over 5 feet long, but they were not built like the skull of a T-Rex. Instead of being wide and robust for bone crushing, their skulls were narrower and lighter, filled with large openings called fenestrae to reduce weight. This didn't make them weak, it made them agile. Their most fearsome feature was their teeth. As we learned, Giganotosaurus had shark teeth, and Giganotosaurus had similar weapons. These teeth were like steak knives, 8 inches long, flattened from side to side and lined with sharp serrations. They were perfect tools for slicing through the thick hide and muscle of their prey, causing massive blood loss and weakening the animal with each bite. These giants were not just about brute force, they were also built for movement. Their long, powerful legs suggest they could move with surprising speed for their size, perhaps reaching speeds of up to 30 miles per hour in short bursts. This would have been essential for chasing down large and often fast-moving prey. Their long, muscular tail acted as a counterbalance, helping them to stay stable and make quick turns while running. Their arms were small, like those of T-Rex, with 3 sharp claws on each hand. While not their primary weapons, these claws could have been useful for gripping prey during an attack, preventing it from escaping their deadly jaws. The bite of these dinosaurs was also very different from that of T-Rex. While T-Rex had an incredibly powerful, bone-shattering bite force, Giganotosaurus and Giganotosaurus had a weaker bite. This isn't a disadvantage, it simply points to a different hunting strategy. Instead of a single crushing kill bite, they likely used a bite-and-slice attack. They would rush in, deliver a series of quick, deep bites with their razor-sharp teeth, and then retreat, letting their victim weaken from shock and blood loss. This was a highly effective way to tackle prey that was far larger and more powerful than themselves, such as the colossal sauropods that shared their world. While Giganotosaurus and Giganotosaurus were very similar, they were not identical twins. They belonged to the same family of dinosaurs, the Giganotosauridae, which means they were close relatives, like lions and tigers. Giganotosaurus lived in what is now South America, while Giganotosaurus roamed North Africa. At the time they lived, about 100 to 93 million years ago, these continents were much closer together than they are today, but they were still separated by an ocean. This separation allowed each species to evolve in slightly different ways, adapting to their own unique environments and prey. They were geographical cousins, each ruling their own vast kingdom. When we compare their skeletons, we can spot some subtle differences. Giganotosaurus appears to have been slightly more robust or heavily built than Giganotosaurus. Its skull was a little longer and its jaw perhaps a bit deeper, suggesting it might have tackled slightly different or larger prey. Some scientists believe Giganotosaurus may have been, on average, the slightly larger of the two, making it one of the largest meat-eating dinosaurs ever to have lived. However, since we have incomplete skeletons for both, it is difficult to say for certain. Both were truly at the upper limits of how large a two-legged predator could possibly get. The differences in their anatomy might reflect the different animals they hunted. In South America, Giganotosaurus shared its world with some of the largest land animals of all time, like the sauropod Argentinosaurus. This immense plant eater could weigh up to 100 tons. Hunting such a creature would have required immense power and specialized tactics. In Africa, Carcharodontosaurus lived alongside another giant sauropod called Paralititan, as well as other large dinosaurs like the sail-backed Spinosaurus. The specific shape of their skulls and teeth were finely tuned over millions of years to be the perfect tools for the prey available in their respective homelands. Ultimately, both of these dinosaurs represent a spectacular example of convergent evolution, where related animals in different parts of the world evolve similar features to solve similar problems. The problem in this case was how to hunt and kill multi-ton sauropods. Their solution was to evolve enormous size, long and narrow skulls, and blade-like teeth for slicing flesh. They were the southern hemisphere's answer to the tyrannosaurs that would later dominate the north. They were not copies of each other, but two unique and magnificent variations on a winning predatory design, each a king in its own right on its own continent. For many years, Tyrannosaurus rex was seen as the ultimate dinosaur predator, the undisputed king. However, the discovery of Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus showed us that T-Rex was not the only giant tyrant on the block. In fact, these southern giants lived millions of years before T-Rex ever appeared. They were the rulers of their time, and they hunted in a very different way. While T-Rex was a bone crusher, Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus were flesh slicers. This fundamental difference in their feeding tools tells us a great deal about their lifestyle and their place in the ecosystem. T-Rex was the last and most specialized of the giant predators, but the Carcharodontosaurs were a global dynasty that ruled for much longer. Let's compare their anatomy more closely. T-Rex had a massive, wide skull with powerful jaw muscles that could deliver a bite force strong enough to pulverize bone. Its teeth were thick and conical like giant railroad spikes, designed to withstand immense pressure. Giganotosaurus, on the other hand, had a long, narrow skull with a much weaker bite force. Its teeth were like knives, designed for cutting. This suggests T-Rex would kill with a single catastrophic bite, while Giganotosaurus would inflict multiple deep wounds, causing its prey to bleed to death. It's the difference between a sledgehammer and a sword. Both are deadly weapons, but they work in very different ways. These differences extended to their senses as well. Studies of T-Rex brain cases show that it had large olfactory bulbs, meaning it had an excellent sense of smell, perhaps one of the best of any dinosaur. It also had forward-facing eyes, giving it good binocular vision or depth perception, which is crucial for judging distance to prey. The brain cases of Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus suggest their sense of smell was also very good, but their eyes were positioned more to the sides of their heads. This would have given them a wider field of view to scan for danger or prey, but perhaps less depth perception than T-Rex. Each design had its own advantages for its particular hunting style. So, who was the superior predator? It's a question that fascinates many, but it's like asking whether a shark is better than a lion. They were both perfectly adapted for their own environments and their own times. T-Rex was the pinnacle of a lineage that specialized in bone-crushing power in late Cretaceous North America. Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus were the masters of a different strategy, thriving in the mid-Cretaceous southern continents by hunting the largest animals that ever walked the earth. They were not lesser than T-Rex. They were simply different, a testament to the incredible variety of ways nature has produced a top predator. To truly understand Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus, we must picture the world they lived in. During the mid-Cretaceous period, around 100 million years ago, the Earth was much warmer than it is today. There were no polar ice caps, and sea levels were much higher. The southern continents of South America and Africa, while drifting apart, were still connected by land bridges from time to time, allowing animals to migrate between them. The environment was a mixture of vast, humid floodplains, dense forests of ferns and conifers, and winding river systems. It was a world teeming with life, and much of that life was enormous. In South America, Giganotosaurus lived in what is now the Patagonia region of Argentina. This area was a lush floodplain, crisscrossed by rivers. It was the perfect habitat for giant long-necked sauropods, the primary food source for a predator of this size. Fossils of one of the largest sauropods ever, Giganotosaurus, have been found in the same rock formations as Giganotosaurus. Imagine the scene, a herd of these 100-ton giants moving slowly across the plain, with a Giganotosaurus watching from the cover of the trees, planning its attack. The ecosystem was a high-stakes arena where life existed on a truly colossal scale. Across the Atlantic, in North Africa, Carcharodontosaurus inhabited a similar but distinct environment. The fossil beds in Morocco and Egypt, known as the Kemkem Group, reveal a massive river delta system. This was a coastal swamp, a river of giants, teeming with huge fish, crocodiles, and dinosaurs. Here, Carcharodontosaurus was not the only giant predator. It shared its home with the enormous fish-eating Spinosaurus and a large abelisaurid dinosaur called Rugops. This means Carcharodontosaurus had to compete for resources, likely focusing its attention on the large plant eaters of the region, such as the sauropod Paralititan and the iguanodontian Uranosaurus. Living in these hot, humid environments presented challenges. A large animal like a Giganotosaurus would have generated a lot of body heat. Its large size would have made it difficult to cool down. It's possible that they spent the hottest parts of the day resting in the shade or near water sources like rivers and lakes. The rivers would have been dangerous places, patrolled by giant crocodiles like Sarcosuchus, but they were also essential sources of water and a place to find prey. The lives of these giant predators were intricately linked to the rhythm of their environment, the climate, the rivers, and most importantly, the giant herbivores they depended on for survival. The most captivating question about Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus is how they managed to hunt prey as mind-bogglingly large as Argentinosaurus or Paralititan. A single adult sauropod could be more than 10 times the weight of its attacker. Hunting such a creature would be like a single lion trying to take down a blue whale. It seems almost impossible for a lone predator. This has led many scientists to wonder, did these giants hunt in packs? The idea of a pack of 40-foot-long carnivores working together to bring down a 100-ton sauropod is both terrifying and scientifically plausible. It would be a coordinated assault of immense power. The evidence for pack hunting is debated, but there are some intriguing clues. In one location in Argentina, the fossil remains of several Giganotosaurus individuals were found together. This doesn't prove they lived and hunted together. It could simply be a place where several animals died over time, but it is suggestive. A coordinated attack would be the most effective way to tackle a giant sauropod. Some members of the pack could distract the adult, while others focused on attacking a younger, smaller, or weaker individual in the herd. By working as a team, they could overwhelm the defenses of even the largest herbivores, using their slice-and-dice bites to inflict numerous wounds. Imagine the strategy. A pack of Giganotosaurus would single out their target from the herd. They would use their speed to close the distance quickly, then dart in to deliver deep slicing bites to the legs and flanks of the sauropod. They would not need to hold on. The goal was to create as much damage as possible. The sauropod, immense and powerful, would defend itself with its whip-like tail and sheer bulk, but the repeated attacks would take their toll. The Giganotosaurus pack would then retreat to a safe distance, waiting patiently as their victim grew weaker from blood loss and exhaustion. This war of attrition was a low-risk, high-reward strategy for tackling such dangerous prey. Of course, they probably didn't hunt giant sauropods every day. Like predators today, they would have been opportunists. They would have hunted smaller, easier prey when it was available, such as younger dinosaurs or other plant eaters. They may also have been scavengers, using their size and intimidating presence to chase smaller predators away from a kill. But the unique weapons of the Carcharodontosaurs, their size and their slicing teeth, seem perfectly evolved for the specific challenge of preying on the largest animals that have ever walked the earth. They were the ultimate sauropod slayers, the only predators capable of tackling such a monumental feast. The reign of the great Carcharodontosaurs was long, but it did not last forever. Around 90 million years ago, these magnificent southern giants disappeared from the fossil record. Their extinction is a great mystery, and it happened long before the famous asteroid impact that wiped out the rest of the non-avian dinosaurs 66 million years ago. So, what happened to them? The answer likely lies in a combination of factors, primarily linked to a changing climate and the disappearance of their primary food source. The world was in a state of flux, and even these mighty predators could not adapt quickly enough to survive the changes. One of the leading theories is that global climate change played a major role. Around the time Giganotosaurus and its relatives vanished, the Earth was experiencing a period of global cooling and fluctuating sea levels. These changes would have dramatically altered the environments they lived in. The lush floodplains that supported the enormous sauropod herds began to shrink and change. As the sauropods' habitat disappeared, so did the sauropods themselves. Without their main source of food, a specialized predator like Giganotosaurus would have struggled to survive. The extinction of the hunter was directly tied to the fate of the hunted. As the Carcharodontosaurs declined, new types of predators rose to take their place. In the southern hemisphere, these were the abelisaurids, strange-looking carnivores with even smaller arms, blunt snouts, and often horns or crests on their heads. They were smaller than the Carcharodontosaurs, but were perhaps more adaptable, able to hunt a wider variety of smaller prey. In the northern hemisphere, the tyrannosaurs began their ascent, eventually evolving into the mighty T-Rex. The disappearance of the Carcharodontosaurs created a power vacuum, an ecological niche that was quickly filled by these new dynasties of predators, who would rule until the very end of the age of dinosaurs. Our understanding of these animals is still incomplete, partly due to the loss of key fossils. As we learned, the original Carcharodontosaurus specimens were destroyed in World War II, a setback that took science 50 years to overcome. Even today, complete skeletons are incredibly rare. We have many questions that remain unanswered. Did they really hunt in packs? What did their young look like? How did they compete with other giant predators like Spinosaurus? Every new fossil discovery provides another piece of the puzzle, but the full picture of their lives remains shrouded in the mists of deep time, waiting for the next great discovery to shed more light on these fallen kings. Though they have been extinct for over 90 million years, Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus have roared back to life in our modern world. Their immense size and fearsome appearance have secured them a place in popular culture, making them stars of movies, television shows, and video games. They often appear as worthy adversaries to T-Rex, titans clashing in epic prehistoric battles. This fame is important because it sparks curiosity and wonder, especially in young people. It introduces a new generation to the incredible diversity of the dinosaur world, showing them that there was more to the Cretaceous than just one famous tyrant king. However, popular culture sometimes gets the details wrong. For example, Giganotosaurus is often portrayed as a bigger, meaner version of T-Rex, but as we have seen, it was a very different kind of animal with a different hunting style. It was a slicer, not a crusher. And while it appeared in the movie Jurassic World Dominion, it lived millions of years before T-Rex, so they never would have met in real life. Correcting these myths is part of the fun of learning about dinosaurs. It helps us appreciate them not as movie monsters, but as real animals that were perfectly adapted to their own unique world and time. The true legacy of Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus lies in what they teach us about life on Earth. They are a testament to the power of evolution and the incredible scale that life can achieve. They show us that for millions of years, the southern continents were ruled by a lineage of predators that were every bit as magnificent as the more famous tyrannosaurs of the north. Their story is a crucial chapter in the history of our planet, a reminder of a time when giants truly did walk the earth. They force us to expand our imagination and reconsider what is possible in the natural world. In the end, Giganotosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus are remembered for what they were, the ultimate sauropod killers. Their entire anatomy, from their giant size to their knife-like teeth, was honed for the singular purpose of hunting the largest animals that ever lived. They were the architects of a unique predatory strategy, one of slice and bleed, perfectly suited for their time and place. They remain icons of the Cretaceous, symbols of the wild and spectacular world that existed long before us. Their fossils are treasures that connect us to this deep past, inspiring us to keep digging, keep questioning, and keep wondering about the magnificent giants who once ruled the South.